This is Texans TV.
The Texans honored their late founder, Bob McNair.
I love seeing the smiles on y'all face. Make sure y'all cameras on and y'all listening.
And we catch up with one of your Houston Texans players. Texans 360 starts now.
We are ready to rock in Houston. Lock and roll. Touchdown, Texans.
Guess when you think you've seen it all, there's always something else.
Welcome into Texans 360. I'm your host, Deepi Sidhu. It's week 5, and man, has a lot changed since the last time we were up here. No more Bill O'Brien as head coach and general manager, but the season rolls on. We're only one quarter of the way through, and we are just starting off a really big Texans 360. I had a chance to sit down with a player, as I always do. This week was also Founders Day, as the entire organization honored the late Bob McNair. But first, let's take a look at the Texans' Week 5 matchup against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Romeo Crennel is the interim coach, but John Harris is here to break down the X's and O's. Take a look.
It's time for the Performance Report, brought to you by Hyundai. And this week, it's the Jacksonville Jaguars that come riding into town to take on your Houston Texans. A lot of changes around here lately, and the Jags are going to see, well, maybe a remodeled Texans team on Sunday. What will the Texans see against the Jaguars? Well, offensively, they're led by an undrafted rookie at running back, James Robinson, who came out of Illinois State and has been a star early in this season for the Jaguars. Inside runs, outside runs, catching the ball in the backfield. Robinson has shown that he can do a little bit of everything. And because of his shorter, compact build, he's a little like, oh boy, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, in that you better bring 3, 4, 5 guys to the party to be able to bring him down. He will create yards after the catch. He will create yards after contact. The deep threat outside, DJ Chark, he's a weapon. He had 2 touchdowns against the Bengals, and he's a guy that absolutely, without question, can hurt this Texans secondary if they don't keep it in front. But we know, as always, the key is the quarterback, Gardner Minchu. If Minshew Mania runs wild, long day for the Texans. If Gardner Minchu is held in check, the Texans can have maybe an afternoon like they had in London last year. Defensively, a lot of youth all across the board. CJ Henderson at corner is one of the best young corners in the league, but he's had some troubles. They've added a few other pieces in the secondary. It's a completely rebuilt and remodeled secondary, and the Texans passing game has to take advantage of that. But to be able to do that, they've got to win up front. The Jags have some really good edge rushers. Caleb Chason, rookie from right here in North Shore, high school in Houston, and also Josh Allen, one of the better young edge pass rushers in the league. But are they good inside? Is Taven Bryan and Devon Hamilton good enough to slow this Texans offense down? They can be, but the Texans are going to have to put a physical whooping up front on that front 7 and get to those linebackers, Miles Jack and Joe Schobert. If they can move the ball on the ground, they'll be able to get some in the air, and that's what this offense needs to do against the Jaguars defense. Can they do it? They have to do it this week against the Jags.
I love seeing what John Harris has to say with his Harris Hurry Up every week, and I love catching up with reporters from around the NFL. This week was no different. I sat down with JP Shadrick. He covers the Jaguars for the Jaguars Radio Network. For Enemy Sidelines, presented by Microsoft Teams, we had a chance to catch up and talk about Gardner Minchu and how he's developed from year 1 to year 2. Enemy Sideline this week, we are talking with JP Shadrick. He is a senior reporter. He's a host of Jaguars Radio Network. We visit several times a year. Nice to have you back, JP. The Texans finally playing a divisional game in 2020. It seems like it's taken forever, but it's week 5, and here we are. They're playing the Jags. First step on the AFC South schedule. How's it going, JP?
It's going well. It's always great to be with you, DP. And for the Jags, it's their 3rd divisional game. The Jags knocked off the Colts in week 1 and then rallied to after a big deficit to Tennessee in week 2 to tie the game 30-30. A late field goal for the Titans kept them undefeated in their second game. They're still undefeated now, of course. And the Jags went to Cincinnati last week and lost. So here we go, a 3rd divisional game, and one the Jags need to snap a 3-game slide all of a sudden, and the injuries are piling up. But
let's get right into it. I'm going to start with Gardner Minchu, obviously, because when you look at his numbers, he's completing 72% of his passes. He's got more touchdowns than interceptions. He's got 101 passer rating right now. When you evaluate him just through this early part of the season, where do you think the biggest growth has been from him year one to year two?
I think the thing with Gardner is that he's going to understand a new offense. He's got it. Everything above the shoulders is there for him. He had to do it so many times in college, learn a new scheme. The thing he's got to work on is that time in the pocket, the awareness of when things break down. There has been a tendency at times for him to maybe tuck it a little bit early, and the idea that the pocket is collapsing when maybe it's not. Maybe he could stand in another couple seconds, find another read, and then go. Last week was his 16th start in the National Football League. So you have to remember he's still young in the NFL.
All right. Well, I have an interesting next-gen stat for you. Next-gen stat presented by AWS. So Minshew's completion above expected rate is 6%. That's basically that he's playing better than what the numbers had projected him at playing. So that ranks 5th in the NFL behind Russell Wilson, Derek Carr, Aaron Rodgers, and Joe Burrow. Now, how does that factor into the fact that you've got Jay Gruden as offensive coordinator? He seems to be getting more out of Minshew than what the numbers were predicting he would get. But how much has what he's able to do changed now with Gruden in charge?
Yeah, that's a good one. I think, like I just said, I think most of Gardner's games so far has been short. First week, he was 19 of 20 passing. But there wasn't a ball 10 yards down the field. They were all out to the wide side, and then the guy would make a move and get 20 yards. James Robinson had a 28-yard reception on a 5-yard pass. You haven't seen a lot of deep over the middle stuff as of yet. At some point that might come, but I think that's the way they've designed it, at least early in the season.
JP, it's always a pleasure catching up with you. Fun to visit with you. We'll catch up later in the season, okay?
Sounds great, Deepi. Always glad to be with you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, JP. We sat down with the Texans' newest tight end, Pharaoh Brown, next on Texans 360.
The Texans need their first victory of 2020 in a big way and will look to do so against the Jacksonville Jaguars this Sunday at NRG Stadium. It's the first meeting of the year between the AFC South foes, and the Texans walloped the Jags in their last meeting, which was a 26-3 victory in London. 15. Dating back to January 2nd of 2011, Houston has won 15 of the last 19 games they've played against Jacksonville. They're riding a 4-game win streak against the Jaguars. 23. All time, Houston has been victorious in 23 of their 36 meetings with Jacksonville. That's good for a .639 winning percentage. I'm Mark Vandermeer, and this is By the Numbers, presented by FedEx.
Welcome back to Texans 360. The show rolls on as it always does. I had a chance to catch up with the player as I do every single week. This week, Pharaoh Brown, tight end. The Texans signed him just after week 1. Kahale Waring went on injured reserve. This week, Jordan Akins got banged up. But we got a chance to get to know the Texans' newest tight end in Brown. It's the Deep Slant 101 presented by Xfinity. And joining me this week, I've never had him on before. It's tight end Pharaoh Brown. Pharaoh, welcome to the Texans. Welcome to the Deep Slant interview. I'm looking forward to getting a chance to know you a little bit better.
Thank you for having me. It's good to be in some sunshine states right now. The winter is always kind of gray, so I'm loving this sun.
Yeah, you were just up in Cleveland, so yeah, I'm sure you do enjoy this weather. Let's start with your name. I like the name Pharaoh. I think that's probably has to have a good story behind it, or does it? What can you tell us about your first name?
So my dad wanted us all to have like royal names, and my mom was reading like a book or watching a movie, and she just held it, and then she just named me that, and everybody was just like shocked and just kind of fell in love with it. And
you came from Cleveland. You signed with the Texans just after week 1. Trying out for a new team is always, I imagine, stressful, but with COVID and all the new protocols and precautions in place, what was that whole process like for you?
I kind of been transitioning a lot. This is my third coach actually in a year and a half. Everywhere I've been, I actually haven't had the same coach in a consecutive year. So I've had to fourth year, had a coach every year, some 2 coaches in 2 years. So kind of familiar, just like with the coaches, learning offenses. I've been around the game. I just love the sport. So when I came here, this was by far one of the more harder offenses to learn. But I just dove in and just studied, and Coach Will does a great job coaching us and coaching us up. And
you had a brand new coach in Will Lawing. You mentioned him, but then you also have some familiarity with this offense in Darren Fells. You guys had some time together in Cleveland. So what was it like reuniting with him? How well did you know him up in Cleveland? I know you said you bounced around a lot, but how much of a help was it to come here and see a familiar face in him?
We was there for a full year together. Darren's a great veteran that's been around a lot of different programs as well, and good guy to gain some knowledge from on the field and off the field. So if I ever have a question, I know I can ask Darren.
For fans that don't really know you or don't know much about what you bring to the game, what do you bring to the game? What do you think that you offer that tight ends group?
I mean, I kind of just can do it all. When I was at Oregon, I was used in special teams. My coach was a special team coach, and you couldn't start for him at tight end if you didn't play special teams. So I can play on special teams. I was used as a blocker, pass catching at Oregon. So I think I'm just a guy that kind of can do it all, block, give you some stuff in the pass game, athletic, can run after the catch, can block.
Well, thanks so much, Pharaoh, and
thank you. Nice meeting you.
Best of luck. Thank you. It was Founders Day at NRG Stadium. Next on Texans 360. Welcome back to Texans 360. On October 6, 1999, the NFL awarded its 32nd franchise to the city of Houston and to the late Robert C. McNair. So let's take a look back at who he was.
Houston Texans owner Bob McNair made everyone feel welcomed, whether you were the President of the United States or a young football fan.
How you doing? How are you? Hey, Chris. How you doing? Good to see you. Nice to have you in Houston.
McNair's life followed a strong Christian faith, as well as some simple advice passed down from his parents.
My mother said, don't do anything you don't want to see on the front page of the newspaper. And my dad said, you can't go wrong by doing what's right.
Bob McNair was a family man. He and his wife Janice cherished the moments spent with their 4 children and 15 grandchildren. Houston was McNair's adopted home and where he found success as a businessman, building one of the nation's largest energy companies, and later, the Texans NFL franchise.
The public interest was just much greater than I ever anticipated. And here in Houston, everybody went crazy.
Bob, on behalf of the entire National Football League, I want to thank you, the entire Houston community, and above all, the fans of the Houston Texans for bringing NFL football back to this great city tonight.
He's done so much for not only just the sports community, but just the community in general.
The most satisfying, delightful thing is being able to help others.
A man of strong convictions, McNair believed in serving the greater good, giving generously throughout his lifetime to countless charities and causes.
As an asset in this community, I can't think of 2 more important people than Janice and Bob McNair.
You arranged this? Thank you so much for this.
I'd like to think that I'd be remembered as an honorable man, as a good Christian man, and that I always did things in a first-class manner and treated people honestly. And I think that would be a good legacy.
Last year, the Texans inaugurated a brand new tradition, Founders Day on October 6th. And every single year, the Texans organization hopes to honor Bob McNair's memory with a community service project. This year was no different as people from across the organization got involved in a really cool virtual reading project to second graders across Houston.
Today we were reading children's books on Zoom, via Zoom for Children, for our charity event for Mr. McNair that passed away 2 years ago. It went good, man. Those kids is funny. I probably had the longest book. They asked a bunch of questions that I didn't expect, but they sound like they pretty much own it. So they're some smart kids.
My name is Mike Thomas. I'm number 28, safety for the Houston Texans. I love seeing the smiles on y'all face. Make sure y'all cameras on and y'all listening. And today's book is, that I'm going to read is called Jabari Jumps.
So the book I'm reading is Smitty Hits the Boat.
The community counts on us to give back and be around. I know a lot of the kids look up to us, so it's nice for them to see their faces and get the interaction with us. They're heroes sometimes, and I think it's just on us to always give back to them.
Thank you.
That was awesome.
So today, the Houston Texans came out to celebrate their Founders Day, and they did a read aloud. So our scholars got to enjoy being in the sun, being outside, and enjoying hearing a cheerleader read to them. And they got to see Toro.
We catch up with some extraordinary women. That's next on Texans 360.
I finished radiation about 5 weeks ago.
1 year cancer-free as of August the 28th.
I'm actually finishing up the last sets of my chemo, and I get to ring the bell.
I actually just had my first round of chemo last week. I'm supposed to have surgery on November 18th, so I'm kind of in the thick of the early stage of this. It definitely hasn't been fun, but stories of other people who have been down this road before definitely keep my motivation up to know that it's going to be okay. So thank you all.
The Houston Texans, in partnership with the American Cancer Society, held a virtual experience hosted by Texans legend Cecil Shorts III. Breast cancer survivors and patients were able to share their stories while offering support and encouragement to others.
Just hearing all of you all's testimonies is a really big deal. I think it's good that we can encourage each other and we can pray for each other and just be here during this time.
While on the call, a few surprises were waiting for them outside.
If you go to your doors, somebody should be ringing your doorbell soon. So go check your door.
Thank all of you guys so much.
Houston Texans cheerleaders surprised the ladies with flowers provided by Kroger and swag bags filled with goodies from the Texans and Houston Methodist.
It was so nice that the Texans brought us all together to be able to just share and laugh and cry and celebrate where we are today. Thank God. Oh,
thank you, Toro.
Thank you. You know what?
It's the final segment of Texans 360, and Mark Vandermeer has been trying his talents out as a game show host. I think he likes it because he's still doing it, and he's keeping fans and season ticket members very entertained. This is what he had to do in his latest game show efforts.
Hello, Texans, and welcome to the show that has taken over Texans fandom. It's called First and 10. You've come to the right place. Here's how we play. You both get the ball at your 25-yard line. And we ask you questions. We ask you if you want a first down question or a big play question. If you answer a first down question correctly, you go 10 yards. If you answer a big play question correctly, you go 20 yards. So we advance the ball down the field this way. Whoever gets to the end zone first wins. Now, if Marta gets to the end zone first, Adam does get what we call in baseball last licks, and he'll get a Hail Mary question to try to tie the game. Then we go to overtime. Adam, you're up. Big play or first down? What do you think?
We're going for a big play again, Mark.
All right, big play. This is multiple choice, so here we go.
Okay.
The Houston Texans started in 2002, like Marta said, but the franchise was awarded in which of these years? 99, 2000, or 2001? What year was the franchise awarded in?
I'm going to go 99.
Bang! Okay, you go right to the 45-yard line. Very good. So, Marta, first down or big play?
Let's go to big play.
Which of the following quarterbacks was not a backup for the Houston Texans? Matt Leinart, Matt Hasselbeck, or Jake Delhomme?
Matt Leinart.
That is incorrect. Matt Leinart was a backup quarterback for the Houston Texans in 2011. What state is Watson from? Where did he grow up? What state is Deshaun Watson from?
No, he's from Georgia.
That it is Georgia. You're right. All right, Marta, come on. Let's charge. Now you can Hail Mary it, okay, and go for a touchdown right here. He would have a chance to respond with a big play, or you can just say big play and hope that he misses the next one. Up to you, Marta.
Let's do a Montana. Hail Mary.
Hail Mary. Okay. Gary Kubiak, who coached the Texans, has been a part of how many Super Bowls? 7, 9, 5, or 6?
7.
Marta's in the end zone. Oh my gosh, Marta. You did it.
Texans.
Marta, you're the winner. How about that?
Whoa, go Texans.
That's going to do it for another episode of Texans 360. If you like those interviews, you can always check out the full features on HoustonTexans.com. And what would be even easier is if you just download the mobile app, because everything's on there as well. And you have it everywhere you go. And we're happy that you're with us everywhere we go. Want to give a special thanks to Tyler Seddoff, Tyler Marcotte, and all of you watching. Stay safe and go Texans.
The Texans facing the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Every play, you give everything you got. You give your heart. Lay your heart out for your brother.
Tremendous athletic ability. Touchdown Texans. Will Fuller.
Look out from behind. Here comes one.
Yes, sir. It's time! Be yourself! Cut it loose! It's time, dog! Let's get this job, man! We're on 3! 1, 2, 3!
Thanks for watching. Subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to know when we post new content.